Okay, in this video, we are going to be talking about the steps that successful home sellers are taking to win in this changing market. So keep watching if you are thinking about selling your home, currently selling your home, or just want to know what's going on out there in the market. We're going to talk about what's separating the winners from the homes that are failing to get those offers across the finish line. Okay, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jeff Thibodeau, professional real estate broker here in Brantford, Ontario. Every week we're making new videos to help you, the local homeowners, local home buyers, and investors make smart real estate decisions. So if that's your type of thing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, leave me a comment, and of course, if this video brings you any value, hit that like button and let me know. It helps with the algorithms and lets me keep growing this channel, and I appreciate it. So let's talk about the most obvious thing right out of the gate here. The most obvious thing is that the market has shifted. I'll give you a quick recap of this wild ride. So 2020, 2021, coming out of the pandemic lockdown, the government dropped the interest rates to almost zero and the real estate market exploded. There was cheap money abound, and also people's needs in their housing situation was changing quickly because of being in lockdown. And so this created a huge wave of people wanting to buy, but also created a lot of people just wanting to hunker down. So we got this big imbalance in supply and demand, and when that happens, prices started to escalate. Then head into around March of 2022, and the government started to hike those interest rates fastest that it's really ever been done in modern history. And so that pumped the brakes and caused all the excitement to come out of the market. And for most of 2022, the market slowed down and people had a big challenge selling their property in that type of environment. And now we're about halfway through 2023 and things are a little more balanced, a little more like they used to be pre-2020. But that's, for a lot of us, that's a distant memory. So the idea of what do we have to do to get a home sold in a more balanced, more reasonable market we need a little reminder. Let's just call it what it is, right? So I've been doing this for 15 years. So the majority of my career has been in a much more balanced market where it did take a little bit of effort to get a home sold. And also I work with a team of agents. We do a lot of transactions. So I get to watch what's really separating the houses that, get their offer done, maybe even get multiple bids, and the houses that go on the market and just sit there and eventually, do a lot of price reductions. Maybe they don't sell at all and come off the market. So let's break down a few of these things. If you are thinking about moving at all this year, I'd love the opportunity to work with you. I'm always welcoming new clients into my world. So if you find value in this video or you think we'd be a personality match, I'd love to help you with your home search, with getting your home ready, and ultimately bringing it to market with some of these strategies we're going to talk about today. So feel free to reach out. My contact information is below. And it always starts with just a simple conversation, and then we start to plan some strategy, and we take it from there. So first point right out of the gate is we got to remember there is a price which any piece of real estate will sell at, right? If you price it low enough, somebody's going to find that as being a deal. And I mean, unless your whole town is vacating and it's becoming a ghost town, but there's going to be a buyer at some price point. But I've never really met any home seller that wants to just give their home away. For most of us, it's one of the most valuable things we own. So on the way out, on the way selling it, we want to try to maximize that price, not just give it away. And so that's what this video is all about. In a more balanced market, the buyers are more picky, right? And they're going to be more critical because there's not that fever rush, right? They're going to have home inspection conditions. They're going to be able to look at a bunch of properties in the same day and compare your property against another property. They might come back a second or third time and nitpick at little unfinished maintenance items and repairs. So first step is obviously fixing up those things. Anything that's obvious that you've left, deferred maintenance items, minor repairs, we want to take care of that stuff right out of the gate, because the buyers are going to look at it and they're going to discount your house, or they're going to kind of build those repairs into their offer. The next thing we want to look at is the overall clutter of the house. And you've probably heard this before, but decluttering really is about getting rid of all that stuff that we accumulate over the years. And no judgment, right? My house is full of clutter too. But the thing is, when we live in a home, it's much different than when we sell a home. And every buyer, when we bring them into a home, they're judging the home based on the feel. It's not like a floor plan or a square footage number. So a decluttered home, a home that looks like it's got a lot more space, feels bigger and garners a bigger price point, right? The other thing is when we see clutter everywhere, that kind of tells the buyer that there's not enough storage in this house. If you don't have a place to put stuff away, they're not either. So they're thinking, oh man, they don't have enough closets or enough cupboard space in this house, so stuff's kind of just sitting everywhere. And so this can be a little bit of an overwhelming process, but it's something we can definitely help you with. I would like to go around the house and kind of tag off everything that should be cleaned up. And really, you're just getting ahead of the game on your packing. You can decide to put things in kind of a throwaway pile or pack and keep. And so it's totally okay for, like, in an unfinished space like a basement or a garage, to neatly stack up your boxes and your containers. What's not okay is in your regular living space to just have stuff everywhere, right? So if we want to think about a general rule for decluttering, it's like that most vertical surfaces, that includes the floor, should be clear, right? If it doesn't have a home, we got to go find it a home in a closet, in a cupboard, or in one of those unfinished spaces. Now, next after that is cleanliness. And I'm sure you live clean and you probably clean your house before you have guests over, but you would be blown away if I told you how many homes we walk into that are for sale and are in really dirty condition. And not a single buyer I've ever met wants to buy somebody else's dirt. They certainly don't want to pay a premium for it. So one of the smartest things we can do is give your home a deep clean right before listing. Some stuff that maybe you don't tackle all the time too, like washing down the walls, the baseboards, getting into all those nooks and crannies. That feel and that smell of a clean home, even if the home's a little bit out of date, will give the buyer the signal that the home's been well cared for, right? A dirty home does the opposite. It's like, oh man, nobody cares about cleaning this home. Did they ever service the filters of the furnace? Did they ever, deal with any landscaping issues? What's going on in the attic? You get all these red flags in a dirty home. Okay, so then next after that is what we call home staging. And you've probably seen it or heard about it. And home staging encompasses a lot of things, right? It can be everything from just a little bit of depersonalization and bringing in some accessories to it could be completely refurnishing your home. It's going to be a custom solution based on your needs as the homeowner and the home's needs. So it's something we're going to talk about. What I like to do is bring in a home staging consultation where we're all going to meet and discuss what a best case scenario is. But then we have to remember that you still need to live in the house. And there's obviously costs associated with home staging too. So we're going to make the best of whatever you've got, plus try to, supplement and augment it. But the idea is we want to make the home feel livable for the buyer. So if we've done these things, right? If we've cleaned up the home, we've taken care of the minor deferred maintenance items and little repairs, we've got a deep clean and a declutter going and a little bit of staging, you're well on your way. You've probably done more work than the average person to bring your home to market. And I know this can feel like a lot, but when you think about it, again, if we're trying to maximize the value of our most valuable asset, we're going to put in a little work on the way to the for sale sign in the yard. And this is why it's important to plan this, because you don't want to feel rushed. You wouldn't want to feel like you have to get all this work done in like 3 or 4 days. So it's nice to meet early, even before you're, months maybe before you're thinking of selling your home, and you can start this process. Okay, let's talk about the next part of this is really talking about picking the sale price of your home. And today's home buyers, they shop online first, right? So when they're clicking through the online listings first, the most important thing they're looking at is the house versus the price, right? And if we get the price wrong, we might not even come up in certain people's searches or search alerts. So we're gonna do a whole nother video on picking the price, but there is a little bit of art and science to it. But in a general sense, we're looking at what the most recent homes like yours sold, and even more importantly, what's currently out there this same weekend, right? Because a buyer's gonna show up and they're gonna go and see 3 or 4 homes. They're gonna see the other properties and they're comparing them against each other, and then they're gonna make an offer on the one that they feel fits their needs the most and is the best deal. If we overprice a home just slightly, we can end up in a situation where we are getting people to come see it, but nobody makes you an offer. And that can be a frustrating place to be as a home seller. On the other hand, if we overprice it drastically, we get into a position where even as people look at it online, they don't even bother to come book a showing. So getting the price right is another key step. So prepping the home up, getting it ready, and then targeting that right asking price to drive the interest. Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is marketing and exposure. And this really happens, like I say, in 3 steps, right? Step number 1 is all about eyeballs. So we got to make sure that we're getting the home exposed out there to the pool of buyers. And now making sure it's on the public MLS system, realtor.ca, is just one step. Everybody's going to do that. But then we want to add a layer of active marketing, and this can include digital ads, video tours, actual putting budget behind these things. It can mean flyering the neighborhood. There's all types of mix of marketing strategies that is going to get the home pushed and not just have it be on the market and waiting for people to find it. So a nice aggressive active marketing strategy. Step 2 is feet, right? We got to get people in the house. So now that's making sure that we're going to kind of simulate the home buyer experience. We want to tour our own home and look at it the way a buyer might, and make sure that, you know, the entryway is nice and clean and welcoming, access to the house is easy. If there's anything confusing about the property, we might put little notes here and there, making sure there's nice flyers left in the home for the buyer, and really trying to orchestrate some urgency around it. So we want to try to get lots of buyers in early in the process. And step number 3 is all about signatures, right? And so if we've done step 1 right, people see the house and they want to come see it in person. Step 2, they come in and see it in person, and it's everything we promised them online. And then step 3 is a natural conclusion to that, which is they write you an offer. And all these things have to come together. So eyeballs, feet, and then signatures for us to get into a negotiation. Now, let me tell you about a couple things. First of all, when you put your home up on the market, the best chance of getting the most attention and the best quality offers is normally right away. This idea that, oh, I'll wait and maybe my best buyer will come in a couple months, I haven't seen that to be true. You know, there's going to be a rare case where you have a unique property and it takes some time. But for the normal home, the reason this is the case is because right now there's a pool of buyers out there already shopping. And those buyers are just waiting for something new to come on the market. And so the day you launch your listing, that first weekend, you're going to get a lot of interest. And that might last for the first week or two. And then what happens is all those people that are currently shopping, they've considered your home. And if nobody's made you an offer yet, we have to move on to wait for new buyers to enter the market. Either someone decides that this is their time to move, maybe they just sold their house, maybe they got a pre-approval, but it's a much slower process waiting for new buyers than it is going after the active buyers out there right now. So always we want to think about a launch strategy and doing it right the first time. And you can see why this all comes together with preparing the home properly, making sure it's marketed properly, and making sure it's priced properly, all for the first weekend. That's our best chance. Now, it's a little counterintuitive, but actually pricing the home a little bit lower and more aggressively does increase your chance that potentially people will bid it back up. Because when a home seems like it's a really good deal, you're going to get more than one person that wants it, and then they compete against each other. But if we overprice a home, giving ourselves some negotiation room or that wiggle room that we want to feel comfortable with, it can actually cause people to slow down, not make an offer, potentially wait on your property, or make you a low ball offer and want to negotiate. So if you are up for it, I would recommend we put a more aggressive price on your home, because you can always turn down an offer that's not high enough or negotiate it back up. Remember, your asking price is just a marketing price, and it's got to be set with precision. Okay, we've covered a lot in this video, right? One thing I want to touch on is the importance of really high quality media. I've been in this business 15 years, and a lot has changed in 15 years. When I first started, we were still able to drop off actual printed photos of a house to our office, and they would scan them. They still had printed books of the listings, and very rapidly everything shifted online. And now in 2023, it is a must that you have magazine quality photos, right? With our team, we have a professional in-house photographer, and then even after we get those photos back, we send them to a professional editing team to further enhance them. And then we're also capturing video clips and turning those into videos for all the different mediums, whether it's vertical for Instagram Reels and horizontal for YouTube, square little clips to use with agents in them and without. So all of this has to come together, even flying the drone, to get those shots. This is kind of standard issue stuff nowadays, where even just a few years ago, it would have been kind of made your home stand out. So making sure that we have really high quality media is going to be that piece that makes sure that your home stands out online. Now, I will say we don't want to trick anybody. This is where you can go overboard. If you enhance your photos too much, if we use too much flowery language, if we maybe hide some things about the home in the listing, sure, we're going to get people to come see the house, but then when they get there, they're going to be disappointed. And then only thing that happens with disappointed buyers is they walk away without making an offer, or potentially they make you a super low offer. So all of this is really important when it comes to getting your home prepared for sale. And it's something that we sit down and talk about and really plan out. It's not something you want to rush in like a couple days. Okay, last thing before we wrap up this video. So what happens if you do all this and then you don't get the result you want? It does happen, right? We're seeing it more often. The market isn't as hot as it was the last 2 years. So some sellers, they launch their home and then the home doesn't sell, right? And we got to react. And so the thing I recommend is that we look at what the average time to sell the other recent listings that have sold in your neighborhood, and we set that date, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks on market, whatever the data is telling us, but we set that to be our time to come back and look at our whole strategy again. So what happens is when we come to market, we're using all the historical research. And once we're on the market, now we're gathering our own research. But we want to react to that research sooner rather than later. Again, because the longer our home sits on the market, the more people stigmatize it and wonder what's wrong. We don't typically see that the home gets more and more attention months on the market. So if we have maybe missed the mark on the price, or the market shifted out from under our feet just as we listed the home for sale, we want to make that adjustment quickly and aggressively and then get the job done on the second try. And that's something, again, we pre-schedule that meeting and want to come out and do that together with you. Okay, there's a ton of information in this video. I hope you found some of it useful. We talked about getting the home ready for the market, everything from repairs and cleaning and staging. We talked about professional media. We talked about having the right price. We talked about staging. We talked about a launch strategy, all of this active marketing and everything that comes together to sell a home. And really what I want to encourage you is to take this very seriously. Again, we're talking about $500,000 to $1 million asset, depending on the property you're selling. So even small changes can make up for big numbers. And believe me, you want to have your home up and sold quick. I don't know anybody that really loves having their home up for sale, having to keep it clean all the time, and having to have showings booked and wondering what's going to happen. Most people would rather have this up, good offers, sold, moving on. So if this video was valuable to you, leave me a like, leave me a comment, and let me know. I would love to connect with you and help you with your move. Talk to you soon.